Hey guys, we're back on another episode of 222window along with Hellim aka Sam today.
Hello, what's up?
How you doing?
I'm good, and you?
I'm chilling. So I'm gonna ask a few questions on the process of our writing of Hellim Exhaustion. I'm gonna start with asking to introduce yourself.
Yeah, so Samuel, stage name Hellim. I'm a musician, a producer. What can I say? 27 years old. I grew up in Brussels. I'm half Brazilian and half Dutch. Those are probably the first things that comes to mind. Give like a basic idea of stuff I do and
Made you who you are.
yeah, a little bit, yeah.
And can I ask from where comes your stage name, Hellim?
Yeah, last year I was traveling in Brazil. And then I went up north and did like a hike in the desert for a few days. And then I stayed at like some spots with locals, like native people. And just one evening I was chilling with the natives and playing a card game. The name was Hellim. And I just loved the name of it. And I was very good at the game because I won like second time of all the locals. So it's stick with me. And yeah, I feel like it's a name that doesn't really put you in boxes. It's really open. It doesn't hint like a specific genre of music. You can really take it and do whatever you want with it. Thought it was interesting.
Yeah, it's true that it's like a name that you have to, like it grows on you. Like you will make it what you want, comme ça.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like a canvas and I can really give the meaning to the name Hellim because I don't think anybody has ever heard the name Hellim, so it's really open to fill it in as I want, and I feel like I can go so many directions with it. And also it has the link with Brazil, so that's important for me as well.
Cute. So you're a musician, producer, artist. I wanted to ask, what is your connection to music in general, or like the way you connect to it, the way you feel, or the way it inspires you in your daily life?
I think right now it's different than it was a few years ago. I remember at high school, it was, I mean, it's kind of cliche, but it was really a way to get ideas out. After being the whole day at school, having to follow rules was some way to be free and create. I think also I used to be very shy at high school, so it was some way to express myself. And right now it still has that meaning because I'm also studying at a conservatory that is also becoming something more serious. Like you have to study every day and practice and have some discipline in it. So see really both sides, like a creative side, but also more practical study work.
That's more like the daily life, but like if like when I ask this question, like the first thing that comes to mind, is it that like explanation, or it's maybe something else?
I don't know, it's like a sea of possibilities. I mean, there's still so much to explore. And yeah, also the feeling of learning new artists or new music, finding new worlds is it the thing which attracts me the most. And like every genre has their story, and the people who make that music also, they have like a similar kind of background, and it's always interesting to dive in those worlds and explore.
I think you also have that trait of character, like your approach and like your discipline, and I think the challenge of like pursuing something. And I think maybe like music is also like a good way of like nurturing that, comme ça. Because if you don't have purpose or like a goal, like do you feel okay?
I mean, it's nice to have a goal in music, but it's also a thing which is, or attracts me at least, is just the infinite possibilities. It's something that will just never end, you know. I think that's really which keeps me going, is okay, you can put yourself little goals, but it's just knowing that it will never stop, you know. The exploration can never stop in music, and it's just for the rest of your life. I feel like, okay, I'm settled in a way because I have this infinite source of of inspiration that you can like draw from and just stay inspired for the rest of your life, I think. What do you think?
No, it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a way of approaching music like that can be restricted and restrictive. I think your way is quite like exciting and stimulating. Is like you keep on exploring and embracing the endless opportunities to just innovate and like renew yourself, and the way you just creating different words and languages. Like, I think that's the most sustainable way of making music, I think, and just having like a passion or like a hobby in that sense. I feel a bit the same, mostly. So I wanted to ask also, like, what do you think is our commonalities, music-wise or just in general?
I think we're very much drawn to like overall vibes of music. We both always seek for like more calm and I don't know, it has to have some kind of flow. I mean, we can sometimes like music that's a lot more intense and like high tempo, but in general, I would say we're more of the laid back types.
Very chilling.
For sure, there has a spiritual side to it because it's music. It has to heal in a way. Has to have this healing effect, and I think that comes back to like, you know, the laid back music. It's just, it can make you calm. That's why I'm saying healing, you know. Can sound like cheesy, but
no, it's true. When you say like spiritual, what does it mean for you, like the spiritual aspect of music? Like how do you find it in your like journey, just in general, on a personal level?
For me, the first thing I think about is just the music has to have an effect on my being, just on the state I am in at that moment. You know, if it can talk to me and really like slow me down. Also the tempo your heart is beating or whatever. That's for me spiritual, just when I feel it and makes me calm. It's like speaking to my soul actually. Because that's not for everybody. I think there's a lot of people who also listen to music to like give them
energized.
To energize.
I hear that, because I know that, for example, like my parents, they really like need to make music and make people dance, and we're gonna have like a lot more audience if you know, like make like upbeat music, for example. I'm like, yeah, but I love making music that's calm and like, you know, like grounding myself, and it's really like you said, like it slows me down, but in a good way. To be able to allow music to make you feel calm is something else, you know. I think also a lot of people don't really handle that. I know I have some friends of mine, like when it's too calm, they're a bit like... And then when the music like Afrobeat comes, like they're really like, oh my God, yes, that's my vibe. I'm like, why can you not just be with like soft music and ambient music, for example?
Yeah, I'm also thinking about all the artists you have sent to me to like, hey, check this out. Like the last one, Daniel Aged, it was so nice because it made me super calm, and I've been listening to it for days. And then you also, like Nisi Blues, you also sent already those two. That's the first two that comes to mind. But it's obvious that, I mean, going back to what are the common points, is you're digging for the music that's really making you calm and can slow you down.
I feel like with you, it's also like, I think the feminine energy.
Yeah.
I don't know what you think about it, but I do think that, you know, you feel like you nurtured and cared for. That's energy and sound that stimulates that. I think it's also very feminine. And I think that's also something that drew me to you in like creating music, is that I felt like you had that very much awake and present. It's
like the more than searching for like the soft sounds instead of more harsh or more...
Or being able to tap into both, actually. I don't think it's choosing one, but being comfortable with both and not trying to avoid that, you know, that energy specifically. I mean, your mom also said, I remember, when she was there, the first listening session, you need that like more like energetic sound, like we need to dance, like we need to go, like... And I don't know how you felt about it. Yeah. When someone says that, or especially your mom, like, how do you feel? Do you kind of like resist, or you allow it to also take space in your thinking process?
I think I I allow it. And honestly, if I would make music just pure like intuitive, it would probably always be soft.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when you want to create an album, it's also important to have like a story in it and like highs and lows. And so then you have to look at the bigger picture. When she says that in the beginning, it's like, okay, I'll have to find the inspiration from somewhere else. It will not come so natural as laid back music, I'd say. Mm-hmm. But that's also very exciting, because I remember when we started at the second part mm-hmm. of the album, I knew like, okay, well, we need to make also something which is maybe more high energy. It's also exciting to
explore that.
Yeah, to explore that, and maybe a side that is less developed as a producer, I'd say.
I think you're very like stretchable. If I have to compare myself, it's a bit weird because like in my dance like background, I think the way I improvise or the way I can really like be physical has always been like very much in my strength, like physicality. Mm-hmm. Even like not masculine, but really like hard. I remember some of my teachers were like, yeah, you need to tap into your softness, like be more be more soft, you know, like softness, round, okay. And like letting go. And I was a bit like, I think I also have that sometimes mindset of resisting, so I take it personal and I just block. I think it was also very inspiring for me to see you like really be stretchable in those challenges. Like, okay, mm-hmm. we need to dive into like something else, like another sound, another rhythm, like, and not really being scared of it. I think for me, then to tap into the strength, or like the more like dynamic sound was more challenging for me than like musically.
Yeah, I get it, but yeah, doesn't it make you like excited because you don't know where you're gonna end. Mm-hmm. You know, if you're always stepping into, for example, the soft side, you already know before you start. I think that's always interesting to see. Like, okay, we need to make something more high energy.
Yeah.
No idea how it's gonna come out.
I think that's really something I learned from you. Still practicing that. The unknown.
For me as well. I mean, we learned a lot, and it's still growing. And I learned also a lot of you. Yeah, of course.
What did you learn?
I think you had this overall idea of the storytelling. I mean, especially for this album. Yeah, when I make music, I don't really think about the story like lyrically. And that's really something I learned from you. Just like Red Soil, the intro track, who are also very, very outspoken and really bold also in the choices that were made. Mm-hmm. Like sometimes I was even, like I did something and I thought like, I don't know if this is good. And often those were the things you said, okay, that's nice, we're gonna like, go full into it. That was cool, and I think especially like the intro track and Red Soil are good examples of that. But also Healing Exhaustion, like putting that track in the album. In the beginning, I was like, okay, I was not sure, but the boldness and making a decision and really standing behind it, that's really something I learned.
Well, I didn't know the half. But it was still good to hear. Because it's weird because sometimes I feel the boldness, but I also really feel the fear. You know, like I said, sometimes we just like go out of my ways. I can be really fearful, but at the same time I'm very bold on a lot of other things. And I think we kind of like mirrored each other in that sense. Like complementary.
Yeah, of course. I mean, everybody has their insecurities. But I think for you it was more on details. Like a certain phrase instead of like in general, like for every song it was very clear. I mean, that's the impression I had, or the feeling that I had, and that's nice because I also felt that I was being guided at the first like big project, I would say. So it's nice to do that with someone that's really that knows which direction to go and just keeps also the big picture.
Like because you know, like it was one of your first like big projects. What is 3 challenges you gave yourself in the making of Healing Exhaustion? we spent a lot of time together, but I guess sometimes we were also just alone here, you know, creating. And in those moments, did you have times or conversations with yourself that were like, okay, for this track, I need to achieve this and that? I know that, for example, like sometimes I blame myself, like the tempo was something that, you felt excited about it actually, but you know, something like that.
Yeah, for sure. I had also some ideas in general, like we need to have one track that is more this, one track more like this. So I also knew for sometimes I blame myself. I want to try something in a different time signature than 4/4.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just because, I don't know, it made me excited to try it.
Mm-hmm.
But like more personal, I think like patience was a big thing. Especially when you start working on a track, sometimes it can really take weeks because we were working on different track at the same moment.
Mm-hmm.
So like working a little bit on this track and then working a little bit on that track, and everything just going in a way kind of slow, like you're building little blocks to it every time. So you don't really have immediately the end result in sight, and to be okay with it. And also because life is also still going on, and you have like 5 tracks in your mind you're still working on. That was probably the most important thing, like patience and also trust in the vision, and trust yourself as well.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I have flashbacks. Because now everything is, everything is out, so it's like, yeah, we did that, like cool, but actually the process was something. I have this flash of like the way we made Sweet Little Angels. That was a trip. Like you can also have like moments where it's just so intuitive.
Yeah, exactly.
And magical actually. Like I think that session was for me like one of the best I've ever had.
True. I mean, yeah, it's true. I almost don't think about it because it went like just so fast and didn't take almost no energy to make it. It really went fast and like you said, organically. Then there are other songs that really had this whole process, like God Complex. And that's a good example of what I meant with being patient. We had a few different versions of it.
Yeah.
And still kept holding on to the idea of, no, this is gonna be good.
It's like really like allowing the song to really reveal itself. Because even the lyrics is not so much, it's not so charged, like it's quite simple, but just like the way I sang on it and the rhythm and the texture of my voice, like I really feel like it already had its own character. The next question is, the title is Healing Exhaustion, so I wanted to ask.
I'm gonna go deep.
What is it that right now, or like maybe in the process of maybe like really like the writing and the exploring part, you wanted to heal from, or like becoming better, or like feeling better?
Damn. Okay.
I think you might have a lot to say.
Yeah, I know. I think, but maybe it has also to deal with what we just talked about, like always trying to perform and doing the most, and that's not healthy. Like one thing I'm really trying to learn is to be disciplined in the way of having time for yourself and actually caring for yourself, and just not working all the time, trying to do so much. I think that's the first thing I was trying to deal with, just having a healthy, more disciplined life, and to be more aware of all the choices I make. I felt like a lot of times that I made choices which I wasn't really in control of. Like I wasn't really in control always of life because I was doing so much stuff. They don't really have the time to really think about what do you really want and how do you want to shape your life or your daily life, I'd say. And still learning to take a step back and like look at everything you're dealing with and then really pick like, is this helping me or not? And I think a lot of things I was doing, for example, at that moment were not helping me. And because I did so much also, I didn't really have the time to think about it, I think. I know,
For me, it makes sense. I remember also like during some sessions, like we practiced letting go and leaving things the way they were, and like not overthinking and really taking the time to observe from like another perspective and deciding, really like making decisions like, okay, I think we should leave it like this for now.
Yeah.
And not like entering this loophole of like always questioning, always doing this, like always doing something, but also letting things breathe and then receiving.
I think making the choices and stand behind it and just face the consequences of it also, I think that's the most difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for me, I'm always like, okay, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Maybe always try to find the compromise, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's good. For sure, it has already helped me a lot in my life. But always trying to search for the compromise, you're also compromising a lot for yourself. So sometimes it's really good to, doesn't matter if it's in music or just on a personal level, to really make a choice for you and not always try to compromise and do some like a little bit for that person, but also a little bit for you.
It's inspiring. Non, ça me fait vraiment juste réfléchir quand même blindé. I think for me, like as the person who produced, had the idea of the album and everything, like singing on it and everything, having you practicing that was very helpful for me, because I was also in that exercise, I would say. Like, okay, I want this is the vision that I have, this is the ideas that I have. Sometimes I feel like this is super clear.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I need like fuel or like other inputs, but I never really felt like I was compromising. And I think that's not something that you can find easily with producers when you really work like next to each other. Especially I think for women, I think it's even harder. So yeah, I think I'm grateful for that, because I don't think I would have made as good music as it is.
Oh, the fact that you also are, in my eyes, someone who can really make decisions and really stand behind it, that also has helped me a lot. Because otherwise I would also stay all the time compromising. It also led me to sometimes also make a decision and say like, no, we have to do this. The way you work in music or whatever, it also reflects a lot of your personality. And so I'm also trying to bring that to just daily life, you know. I think I learned a lot about it from you in the process of making the album, and there's also a lot to learn of that just in normal life, because I think in normal life you're also someone who can really make choices for yourself. When something is affecting you, you will really make a decision clear. And I feel like you're less, in that way you will less compromise, which is good. That's really something like I'm trying to learn and working on.
No, I really relate. Après, genre, j'ai aussi mes moments. And sometimes these moments where it's good, like I have the strength and like the self-love of really honoring those desires or not. And sometimes I'm just weaker. I'm just like, I don't know how to say no. So yeah, it comes in waves, but yeah, it's nice to hear actually, because I didn't know. Next question. What does the album inspire you to create, like in the foreseeable future? Did you feel inspired after the album got released?
Yeah, very inspired. I think working on this project has really sparked, like, and also showed to stick to your vision. And I mean, even if people, I'm glad a lot of people liked it, but even if they wouldn't like it, just do what you believe in. Now I'm really excited to making again some stuff just for me, and just try to make really bold decisions in that as well.
We'll be hearing from him soon.
I hope so.
I love that. So cool. Yeah. Do you have any questions for me? What things you want to share?
But actually the questions I wanted to ask will be probably the same you asked me.
What?
Yeah. For you, what was the biggest challenge in creating the album?
I think for me it was more like before the recording sessions, finding ways to gather all the elements and like all the like sonic ideas, but also like visuals, then also like creating really like a plan.
Yeah.
I guess like strategically.
It's just having everything connected, like the visual connected with the music.
Because I really wanted to create like a whole world actually. And I think that's also something that I'm still busy with. So like not just creating like an album or just like music and then I let it go, because I think that these themes and subjects are so rich to explore. So I think that was for me like the most challenging part, and then after like just the fatigue. I was just being available, like my voice, taking care of myself, like making a planning. Like you said, like because we have recording sessions or just like us being here and creating, and we have 4 songs like awaiting, 4 songs that already like started, and a lot of information.
That's really chaotic, no? Interesting. If you would do another album, what would you change? Just in the approach.
Actually, I loved it.
Yeah? But for me, for example, I mean, I also think the result is there and I'm super happy. But like this exactly, like working on 5 tracks, like it was chaotic, right? Maybe it's just the way we work, I'd say. I wanted to say maybe you have to work track by track, but then I go back thinking to even when I started making music, it has always been like that.
No, I think it's also because, you know, like the way we recorded was like in 2 separate like time frame, and I think every environment that I found myself in was necessary. Like I loved coming here and making music next to you. I loved being at my place and writing. I loved being in the studio and then changing studios. I think it really added a lot to the sound and to the inspirations. It was really like a beautiful chaos, and I think it happened the way it did for a reason, and the next one will be different for sure. Yeah.
Also, I think the changing of environments is actually a really important thing in the making.
Don't stay stuck in one box.
Yeah. No, but if you want to make an album which has really a story and has different vibes, then you really have to switch environments often if you want to make different things for the same album. Otherwise, you can also get one album that has always the same vibe. Doesn't mean it's gonna be bad, but depends on what you want.
I wish for us to go to Brazil. And make music, and maybe other places too, but I think the traveling part is really exciting.
I agree. I think that's also one of the exciting things of music. You can see the world from your house just by listening music, but when you start really bringing out music, it also can physically bring you to all those places. Also, I hope something that the album will bring to us to be able to spread it and to see the world.
Now I want to do 2 goats.
Okay, let's go.
Goat producer.
Probably say Flying Lotus.
Why?
Because he's a pioneer, just for the beat scene. So he started really making just beats, but then his last albums, his collaborations with Herbie Hancock on it, he has also produced for Thundercat a lot. I feel like he has worked with all the legends of the American music scene. He also has his own label, Brain Feeder, with incredible artists on it, and he's also a dope director. He makes nice movies. I mean, crazy, but it's just in overall super creative.
So very plural, eclectic. Okay. What is the GOAT like music session setting? Studio, but also just like exploration, you know?
Honestly, it's a bit cliche, I think, but I really think in Brazil, just some forest close to the beach where there's nobody, just one house, a cabin.
So nature.
Yeah, for sure, nature.
One last thing.
Okay.
What is an advice that you would like to share with any creative?
It's probably the thing that everybody says, but it's so true. It's just keep working on your craft. You really have to keep believing in yourself. That's the most crucial thing. Like the most important thing is to work on something constant. Like better to work every day a little bit on it than just a few days. A few hours, so just being in a constant
flow.
In a flow, yeah. That you're all the time thinking about it, and I think that's important.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
Stay tuned, and thank you for listening. Put the thumbs up subscribe and come to see the shows and go follow Hellim on Instagram.
Yeah.
And support his art.
Thank you. Wow. Merci.
And here is the awkward ending.